guys ready to work on stuff? I think I'm ready to work on stuff. It's been too long. Let's build some stuff. So, I've got the grill out because we got a cherry on top of this turbo setup. That's really annoying that that's all chipped up. Trying to not be annoyed. But this is why we have the grill out. Because this will fit perfectly behind there. There we go. There's home. You put the grill back over it, you won't even hardly know it's there. Air blows through it, cools it down. More turbo noises, more horsepowers. Because you have cooler air, which draws in more oxygen molecules condensed together, makes more horsepowers. Because all an engine is an air pump. So we're gonna pump some more air. Any hoosers, I gotta mount this. I think I'll make a little strap. Goes over to that little bolt. You guys see that? Strap from the core support to that. Mount it up. I'll do that real quick and save you guys the boring time it takes. Get that mounted, grill back in it, piping done. Hopefully in this video we're dropping an engine in and getting things bolted up. Simple flat strap we'll cut up. Drill 2 holes, put the intercooler on, call it mounted, and move on to the next thing. The best part about having a race car with rust and patches and primer, you can just drill the holes in it and not even care. I do not care. I'm not crying right now. Nice hole there. Mount an intercooler. Modify things. Cut things. We had to cut out core support a little to fit the tubing. Doesn't bother me at all on this car. Now I have another ElCamino that I hope to work on soon. You guys will see that I would cry if I had to do that. And we won't do that to that car. But we will LS swap that car. And that might make people cry because it's a true SS ElCamino. But we'll get to that project soon. It's these little things that just take forever. But look at that. Intercooler is just about mounted. Then I can forget about it and know it's good. Sometimes I get lucky. I ordered this intercooler off Amazon without measuring or anything, and I was like, yeah, I'll make it fit. And it fits perfectly behind this grill. We'll put the grill back in, and you won't even know it's there. Hardly. Intercooler installed. The tubes come around each side of the radiator. Money. So if you're dumb and order stuff without measuring like me, you better be lucky. So we had a whoopsie. Somebody broke the bell housing off my very nice transmission. So we're gonna take this whoopsie and make it a positive thing by making a safety item by adding a SFI rated bell housing that keeps the flywheel from coming out and ripping off and cutting my legs off if the bolts come out of the flywheel for some reason. So I have to cut this bell housing off and put that new thicker one back on. So we'll address that, but I'm waiting on that to show up today. Being slow, so just working on odds and ends. I have the engine mounts on the engine, things like that. Had to do a little modification to those to work. And now the turbo manifold I'm working on next has this like O2 sensor bung, which you can't have before the turbo as far as I know. So I'm gonna delete it, cut it out, put this ring for this wastegate to mount there. Wastegate is how you control boost pressure. You have it open at a certain PSI or setting with springs, or boost referenced pressure to the top of the diaphragm, and gets to a certain pressure, it opens up and lets exhaust pressure out and slows the turbo back down, so you don't just keep building more and more boost, because it'll just keep building boost and then the motor can't handle it. So you set your boost to the level you like that you're running at, Anyway, so I gotta cut that out of the manifold and weld in the wastegate. We'll do that next. I'm gonna plasma it. We'll see how that works. And then it's cast iron, so welding to that is fun too. Something like this. Yeah. Piece is falling out, but I need to weld that there after I cut it out. Let's get to it. Get out of there. There, nice and ugly. Bootomless. Now I can weld that. Boom, just like that. Wastegate is installed. Now I can put the manifold on the engine, mock up the turbo on the engine. Waiting on that transmission bell. I might have this whole thing together and ready to just rip once it drops in, which is fine. I'm making progress either way. So once that cools off a little bit, we'll mount it on the engine and start mounting and plumbing the turbo. This timing cover is all dirty. It was shiny and new. Has ports for the drain from the turbo to go into it. Both sides has a port. I'll just cap that side, but you could run twin turbos and have the drains to there. Pretty slick. People have made this really easy, so it's hard not to turbo all your LS's. I'm excited. Shall we hang the turbski where it goes? Maybe for the last time, first time, last time. This thing's kind of chunky. It's gonna make the engine offset, not level anymore. Ooh, that one has to go that way. Okay, good to know. Sheesh! Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's heavy. Perfect. Come on. Get on there. Now that's really front heavy. This will allow me to put all the accessories on out here, get the oil drain and oil feed all set up. So when it drops in, I just put an intake and wire it. Boom. And it runs, hopefully. You see the oil pressure side and the oil drain are running horizontally. You loosen these nuts and then you can rotate it, the body, to go vertical. So gravity will drain the oil out and back to the pan. Do you know that they make oilless turbos where it has a grease zerk right there and takes special grease? You pump grease into it and then that's all that lubricates it. Makes plumbing a lot easier for like rear mounted turbos way back on your vehicle. You don't want to run oil lines all the way back there. Pretty cool, but a lot of maintenance. And I heard that the tiny little bit of grease tube is like $250. So anyway, $200 turbo. This turbo is cheaper than their grease tube for their grease turbos. Look what finally showed up a day late. ATI racing bell. Wow. Woo-hoo-hoo. I've never had the pleasure of having an aluminum one. I've had a steel one for derbies. That is nice. Wow, this does small block Chevys, LS, LTs, big blocks. They've made all the holes for all the options. So I can actually have all the holes holding this transmission now. That's exciting. Gaskets in there. Dang, this is too nice for me. So we're turning a negative moment of my employee dropping this transmission, cracking the side of the bell housing just off. So we're turning into a safety upgrade where you cut this off and then you bolt this to the front and you have a new thicker bell housing that keeps things from coming out of the bell housing and into your body. So turning a negative into a positive. It'll be okay. The worst part is you have to cut this precisely without messing it up. So I'll read the instructions. Start cutting. Power glide. I read the instructions because this is important. It says from the tail housing, I'm supposed to pull the tail housing off, put a straight edge on it, and measure from there, but I'm not going to do that. It says to go 10 inches. From the mounting point of the tail housing forward. And then you mark it and draw a line, and then you just start cutting, and then you grind it smooth back flush behind the surface of the pump, because that's where that's gonna bolt to. Grinder in hand, there's no going back now. Just seems so wrong. That looks weird. Not too shabby. Took the bolts out. Let's see how these line up. Not too bad. From crappy to safety. This is exciting. This is the most race car looking race car I've ever had. The car not so much, but the engine transmission. I mean, a aftermarket bell housing, turbo hanging out. Some firsts for me. Let's put these two together, and then I can put it in the car, plumb some exhaust, and all the other fun things. There we go, there we go. The big old turbo on the front, making it front heavy. There we go. Why am I trying to swing the engine when this rolls? Should be the easiest transmission and engine mating ever. Oh yeah. I just want to say real quick, everybody thinks the race car parts just click together. You have that vision in your mind. Things are just going together. You just put it in and it works. That's never what happens. Doing race car stuff, custom stuff, you're grinding parts that have worked 10 times before, and this time they don't because things are a little different. You're putting stuff together that should never be together. And yeah, so most of the time it's custom stuff and you're fighting it every step of the way through. I just want to make that clear, that that's how this stuff goes. Doesn't just boop boop like Legos click together. I wish, but it doesn't happen that way. So here I am grinding this adapter because the snout on the torque converter is too long, Not too long, it's just longer than all the other torque converters I've ever used. So I'm grinding this little adapter out because I don't have a lathe. I wish I had a lathe to turn this down and make it look all pretty, but nobody's ever gonna see it but me. So, or the people helping me pull the transmission out after I blow something up. Anyway, that's my rant this morning. So this is my rough machined product here, and it just has to go on there further than it did before. I'm gonna grind a little more so this converter can float and actually mount up like it's supposed to. We're getting close though. Race car stuff. Keep going, keep plugging, one problem at a time. So I've been fighting an issue for an embarrassingly long amount of time. Engine, when this rolls, should be the easiest transmission and engine mating ever. Every time I bolt this up, the converter gets shoved back in the transmission and locks up everything, which is very bad. So I keep playing with, is my flex plate wrong? The bell housing depth different because I've never used this bell housing before. But then I noticed that these pads on the converter have been TIG welded on to space it out. So I just cut one off, and I hope that's the clearance that I'm fighting. It's about an 1/8 inch thick plate added to the top of those pads. Somebody must have had like a mid plate, or just trying to get converter spacing right. They welded these onto their application, but it does not work for my application. So now I have to cut these off, grind it smooth, and then hope I can put this together for the last time, so we can put this thing in the car. I'm excited to get it in the car, but it's frustrating me. I keep bolting this up and unbolting it, making me mad. So cut these off, get it in the car. This better be the last time I'm mating these together. Does the converter spin still? Yes, it spins. So that's a win. Finally. Stupid things were throwing me off. Should have noticed that earlier. Money. I think I'm finally ready to put this thing in the hole over there. Let's do it. Tight fit usually. It's going though. What are we hanging up on? I have a normal truck pan, oil pan, so clearance in the car is tight. But it will work. I've got it to fit before. Stupid Intercooler lines. Shoot. It's hitting everything. Might not be good to fit over there. This is what I'm dealing with. That is hitting everything. Glad I didn't build the whole pipe around. This side is free as can be. Might have to cut that other one or buy a shorter one like this side. That's why I like my exhaust to go up. You don't have to deal with that. So I'm gonna pull this manifold off because it's just not gonna work. I'll get the engine in place, see if the manifold's gonna work. I was trying to get a step ahead, but one step forward and 2 steps back. How's you guys' day going? Mine could be a little better. Look at me complaining about working on a race car. Shame on me. Where'd that go? Oh, I hear things. I don't know where it went. Anywhozer. Let's see if it'll go in its hole now. Now she's just falling into place. Well, that's not ideal. Shoot. Oh boy. This is why you shouldn't build stuff until it's in the car. I think my blow-off valve's hitting the A-arm. Trying to be proactive, and this is what I get. Shoot. Oh, that's frustrating. There's no fixing that without capping that off and welding in a different spot. That is annoying. I forgot how low this engine sits. That manifold's almost touching the A-arm there, but this is sitting on it. Right there. Son of a gun. That sucks. You gotta take that off. Either cap it, get a new manifold, or weld a tube to it and bring the wastegate out here, but they say it's best to have the wastegate in the flow. I've seen people cut the turbo housing and put the wastegate. Ah, man. This is why custom stuff takes forever. Dang. I was being all proactive. Welding this on with it out there. Blah blah blah. Dang it. So I took my mistake off just to get the engine mounted, and then I could pull the manifold off and figure out what I'm gonna do. I had everything all set up pretty dang good, and now it's all going out the window. Let's see if I can put an engine mount bolt in the hole. Or in the hole. Feels like it. Where's my hammer? Perfect, there's one. There we go. Moral of this story is some days you get lucky, like my intercooler fitting perfect. Some days you're not so lucky, like this stuff not fitting. See now that it's actually in its right spot. Oops, sorry. It might fit, but I wouldn't have any suspension travel unless I cut out the A-arm and made it weak. Let's stick this on there. That's unfortunate. Yep. That's fun. Not so fun. I could put like a U-bend and then a wastegate over here or something. Frustrating. Now that it's in the right spot, will the manifold fit? Maybe if I came up from the bottom with it. Let's mount the transmission. Alright, so gotta count my blessings. The exhaust is proving to be annoyingly difficult, but the transmission lines up perfectly with the stock mount, and the stock driveline fits better than it did with the turbo 350 in here with the 9-inch. When I changed it to the 9-inch, if you guys remember that back in the day, it's nice and blue with stars on it. It pushed the driveline into the rear of that turbo 350 like all the way, and it probably wasn't great. But now it's riding pretty much perfect in this transmission, so I'll take the wins. Gotta count my blessings because it's gonna take some effort to get the exhaust and everything to be happy in this car. Today I dislike this car, but we'll continue on anyway and finish it so I like it again. Thanks for watching and supporting. If you want some sweet merch, go to malfunctionjunction.us. Thank you guys.